This is the city of Putrajaya, a beautiful city located not more than 25 kilometers from Kuala Lumpur, famous for its beautiful streets, stunning architecture, and of course, like the rest of Malaysia, its beautiful clear skies. But unfortunately, this does not last all year long.
Satellite picture from NASA shows the scale of the cloud of smoke reaching from Indonesia across to Singapore and Malaysia.
Pollution Standards Index soared to a new record high of 290 this hour.
Singapore and Malaysia, the air quality dipped to unhealthy levels. Sumatra on fire.
This is how the blue sky city of Putrajaya looked in September of 2015. Almost like a natural season, the Southeast Asian haze has been happening annually since the 1990s. The phenomena is fueled by slash and burn farming that has been on the rise ever since. This year, the problem has escalated to whole new levels due to the unprecedented dry seasons in the region. What we aim for from this documentary is to show the scale of the problem and the extent of its impact here in Malaysia, as well as to show what Malaysian government is doing to fight back, and whether or not it's doing all that is necessary to put an end to this problem once and for all. Our first stop is the Ministry of Environment here in Putrajaya, where the Malaysian government has set up an entire section in the building just to cope with the ongoing haze. We're meeting up with Mr. Amiru Dara, who's the official spokesman of the Haze Department and who has been dealing with the issue for the last decade.
Good afternoon, Mr. Amir. So I'm gonna jump in straight into what happened this time that made the haze a major problem in Malaysia, or certainly a crisis.
Okay, thank you. Actually, the haze is every year in our region, including Malaysia, Singapore, Brunei, and Thailand also. When you talk about impact this year from the previous year, because this year the haze is very thick, 2 months over, and then it's surrounding all Malaysia, and then the affected people is a lot of school is closed because the high of index IPU. So many people disturb their routine job. That's the problem this year.
Schools being closed and people disturbing their routine lives might seem troubling, but the scale of the problem is certainly much bigger. Keep in mind that the haze is actual smoke from the burning plantations, so that has got to have some serious health consequences.
So in order to find out more about the problems that the haze might have on the human body, we decided to come to the Cyberjaya University College of Medical Science to see what the experts have to say about it.
Our expert in this case is Dr. Ibrahim Osman, a professor of medical science here in the university. He had some serious and troubling thoughts about the haze.
So it has a direct action and implication on our body, on our different systems. Okay. So when we talk about this haze, actually it contains very minute particles, so which will affect your lungs, your ear, nose, throat as well. The short-term effects are like you'll have irritation of like your nose, irritation of eyes, so there will be dryness in your throat. There will be congestion, like a nasal congestions we call it. There will be coughing. So in long term, even if you do not have asthma, you do not have any lung disease such as COPD we call it, because of the exposure, long exposure to all these pollutants, the patient might develop asthma and COPDs in future. Because of this pollution, these allergies, patient might develop heart complaints. With continuous long exposure, the patient might have heart attack or any coronary artery diseases as well.
Now keep in mind that the government of Malaysia has distributed surgical masks to be given free of charge all over the country, and people believe that wearing these masks will protect them from the hazardous atmosphere.
Now wearing masks, now here is the most important thing is which and what type of mask we are wearing plays an important role. So the regular, the people which we have seen, and most of the people actually they'll be wearing surgical mask or paper mask. Actually they are not at all helpful in controlling those minute particles of haze in entering our system.
So the mask that everyone is wearing and everyone that the government is distributing in all the shops, it does not actually work?
It will not work because those dust particles and those allergens, so they are so minute that our regular surgical mask and paper marks, they will not help to prevent those so small micro like particles to enter in our body.
Now the question that we have is, has the Malaysian government done enough to deal with this animal problem? Well, the answer is a matter of perspective, because after all, the problem was not initiated here in Malaysia.
Okay, when we talk about the Palmer environment action to tackle this problem, firstly, we know that the cause of the haze because our neighbor country, just called Indonesia, is it? But we have some agreement, we call it the ASEAN Transboundary Haze Agreement. All the ASEAN countries, including Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Brunei, Philippines, Thailand, all the ASEAN countries. So Indonesia just last year signed the agreement. So our minister is going there more than a very frequent to meet their Ministry of Indonesia to talk about this matter. Our PM, Prime Minister, also going to Indonesia to talk about this.
Malaysia is not the country responsible for the haze, nor is any of the other Southeast Asian countries. It's all Indonesia's fault. In fact, Indonesia has been targeted by the countries of the region so bad that its minister had to fight back.
The minister coordinating Indonesia's response to the haze has accused Singapore of behaving like a child over the crisis. Agung Laksono said Singapore should not be making all this noise, and this is not what the Indonesian nation wants. It's because of nature.
But is it really all Indonesia's fault? A part of Indonesia's defense is that the forest being burnt is caused largely by corporations from the same countries that it's being attacked from. Malaysian corporations like Sim Darby and Singaporean Wilmer has been accused by Indonesia in contributing to the burning.
At the beginning of this problem, when a lot of the Asian countries affected by the haze started attacking and confronting Indonesia about the haze problem, the Indonesian government went off to the fact that there is a lot of Singaporean and Malaysian companies that are also a part of the haze problem. So is Malaysia doing enough to try to prevent those people from doing what they're doing?
We have a lot of dialogue with our company when to invest in Indonesia, like Tabung Haji, Sandabi, KL Kepong. We have a lot there. You know that the Malaysia people, Malaysia company, Indonesia, the problem is when you buy a land, you buy some piece of land, you need to buy all the land, including the village. So the problem is the village people done the burning. Yeah, we know that whole company, but until now you know the company, the name company, don't know it. So if the true, so who are burning? Which company? Tamuaji? No, is it? So I think it's not fair when Indonesia cakap it's Malaysia people going to. If you know the Malaysia, just declare out. There's Malaysia people. This is Tabung Haji. Why not until now they don't say that?
Given what we saw, the question of whether the haze is a serious problem or not is definitely answered. However, whether the Malaysian government is doing all it can is still a matter of perspective.
So like government is taking a bit like this issue a bit seriously, because the most vulnerable groups who face these haze problems are kids, children and elderly people. They are at the highest risk because of the haze. So they have taken some initiatives, but definitely not sufficient enough. They have not taken sufficient enough initiatives to tackle this issue.
Okay.
So based on the scale of the problem, because the scale of the problem is big, and we've spoken within this documentary to Dr. Ibrahim, for example, who told us that the haze can have problems in the human ears and lungs, and it will be also a long-term effect that might affect the whole population in many years. If you had the choice to do something more, what are the things that you think should be made to stop this?
We need some dialogue, or not to put hard in Indonesia how to tackle their problem, but to help Indonesia how to tackle the problem. Opportunity that Malaysia also have a peatland. So now since 2009, Malaysia have some program to prevent fire in peatland. I'm also in charge of that program. So we are construct some structure to prevent water to flow out, to maintain the water at the peatland. So the peatland when they wet, it cannot fire, is it? So we introduce this program to Indonesia next year to make sure that Indonesia can prevent, because when you call it, when Malaysia is impacted by haze, you can imagine what happened in Indonesia.
Now the haze is over, and the sky in Putrajaya is blue once again. But the question of whether it will remain blue next year is a question that only time can solve.